sheer form get Spirit through this?
That is the question, Tom. That is definitely the question, because it has to be sheer form as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that you can necessarily expect Chris to be dropping the crazy performances he had, you know, last time around, where it kind of turned everyone's heads. But we'll hold on to that thought for a second, because it's going to be nothing but aggression to kick things off. Mia trying to stab through the smoke. He's waiting. He's waiting. You can see Madden. He's daring Madden to come down the vents. Take the shot, Mia. He's still there. They're still downstairs. He's going to finally get the knife, and it chops away the kneecaps, taking down Madden. They concede the bomb plant, but they won't care, because Spirit come off to another successful start. And if Mia had died there, like a dropping headshot, I would have absolutely buckled laughing. But hey, he got the knife kill. It's all good.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, at least from players I've seen so far, he's the only one really getting knife kills. And he's gotten for so many throughout this tournament. He's doing it in a grand final. Like, obviously, this is one of those spots where a fair few players actually go for knife kills, just because actually probably more effective than just sitting there with the USP. But every once in a while, it becomes quite uncomfortable. I'm sure Madden's not going to be too happy with that. The fact is, they only get one kill, though, and they do get themselves a bomb plant. And look at the buy. Sure, it's got no real weaponry, but Tech 9's alongside a hell of a lot of utility for FPX. This could be a round that goes in their favor.
But the buy, Tom, on Spirit, because of those 2 kills that Mia got plus the knife kill, he's dropped an AWP to Dexter straight away. But they've lost on Die Young. The Tech 9 of Chris J just pierces his head. Down he goes by the wake. And Mia decides to traverse down the vents, but FPX look like they're only interested in the upper site. They're sat in position. The bomb just dropped behind them. They need to go pick that one up, but that's already put Spirit on the back foot. And because they've gone for a lot of firepower, they do lack utility.
Yeah, this almost feels like the worst possible round to actually have an AWP, because chances are you're not going to get a lot of the battles that you'd normally want to take. Like, they're going to try and get as close as humanly possible. I'd, if anything, just like to see FPX just go straight for an inner A here. I think it's the perfect play in this sort of situation. Like, look at the weaponry. Like, sure, you've got some rifles, but if anything, I think they'd struggle more if they were up against the like of an MP9. Instead, they've got the opening pick, and here comes that push.
Dexter has nailed 2 shots. The second flick is outrageous and puts them down in scintillating fashion. The jump peak is good, keeps them alive. Dexter now gets overrun, but Magix is there to help him out. And there were definitely some doubts as to whether they could hold the line, and they've proven themselves again, Tom.
Man, how does he do that? Like, all the people just running around. I like the save as well. Like, it's almost like the deer in headlights, and then someone just swoops the deer out of the way. That was nice crossfire coming in from the likes of Team Spirit, but yeah, I really feel like with that upper hit, they almost should have got more. Like, they got the opening initially. As you said, there was no real utility for them to try and slow anything down. And the main defender on the site had an AWP. Like, you have to feel like FPX should have closed out that kill. But as said, Dexter, it was mentioned by Maniac, the fact that he was playing phenomenally alongside Mir and Magix. Now, obviously, the 2 that we normally highlight, again, Magix isn't that primary man, but his position on this map is crucial. Like, he plays the ramp solo the majority of the time. Now, he's done a lot here, and he's actually bought enough for a rotation to come in, but he's someone that is always a focus on this map, because if your ramp player's struggling, you're going to struggle, because you instantly have to change up everything you're doing to make sure they don't consistently get that control. However, I can't actually think back to a time or a match where I remember him struggling in particular on Nuke.
No, I think I'm right alongside with you. He typically is very good in those kind of anchor positions. Same on long, he typically plays long, as they were touching on the desk. So he's a guy that you can definitely depend on, you can have a lot of faith in. And that fast rotation from Dexter typically will be called. Now, this round, he's not going to be able to fast rotate. He's stuck in garage, but he will be pulling back after that initial shot didn't quite hit the mark. You touched on it yourself as well. It's been the Dexter and Mir show. Both maps they've played so far this tournament on Nuke have ended 16-12, with them combined getting over 55 frags. They are always performing together in tandem. Mia, again, headshot onto Chris J. Outside with the position. He had a lot of success early on in the tournament, but he's already been dispatched.
Sticko's gained some ground. Now, someone that I do think can almost act as a little bit of a liability occasionally on this map is going to be Sum Young. Now, he's normally taking the initial fight on A, which is definitely one of the rougher roles to have, but he also seems to get caught out quite regularly, and the timing couldn't have been better, as Deco will put him down. Now, the rotation of 2 players is already here for Team Spirit, so they are relatively well set up in a crossfire as well. Mir already tagged, but Magic's at the back of the boxes could be a real issue.
1 for 1, Mia has now been put down. Magic's still alive, spins in, doesn't quite connect though. Zed survives on 1 HP, and that 1 health could be the difference between the round and conceding it. That could have turned everything on its head. I don't think Spirit are too interested in going in for this clutch anymore, so FPX will be successful. Looks good for Spirit to hold on to the AWP and the M4, however, so they'll be able to bounce right back in. But I go back to that Magic's moment, Tom. I think if he gets that kill, it's an entirely different ball game.
Oh, Chopper's got to be careful. Going to be able to shut down Zen. Actually, just going to use a little bit of that extra utility he had to deny any real chance of them closing him out of this round. Both teams surviving with a couple of players, and the money not going to be bad for Team Spirit. I do also think that one of the things that Chris mentioned actually after his match versus EG, where he did just dominate, there was the mention of the fact that he thinks he got a lot of good timings, like his plays through the smoke, catching players off guard. The issue I see with that on this map is Mir doesn't really give you the chance to catch him off guard. Either he kills you or you kill him. Like those are the 2 options. Or Dexter gets there first. Okay, I'll add in a 3rd. Other than that, I don't think there's going to be a moment where he's going to be looking the wrong way, because he's constantly moving. He's constantly repositioning, and he really is annoying. I think that's the best way to put it. He's just annoying to play against.
He has that kind of controlled chaos mentality. Dexter misses a bit of a sitter. You expect him to land those shots, especially as he started off this map well. And now Chopper nearly had them line up, but they both stay alive. Sum Young, last player at the back of the site, goes the same way. This is much better. FPX just 1 by 1, simultaneously shutting down Spirit, and it's only Mia that has posted up any kind of aggression back, but I think it's a similar situation where they both just look to save already post-plant, so it looks good for FPX to get their 2nd round. Something else that Chris talked about as well, though, was about how that confidence affected his performance and how it pushed him forward. So if he does have a slow start here, as FPX have, maybe that can also factor in. Good news, though, to play devil's advocate on that point. They've just picked up 2 rounds in a row, and this round in particular was very straightforward for them.
Yeah, it was almost like a snowball effect. Like the second they find that first kill, they just continue to just run straight in towards the A site to try and catch players off guard. And that's the thing, they're actually just players waiting for them to move into these angles, but every shot was connected by FPX. So a solid round. I don't know how recreatable it will necessarily be, just because, again, you're relying on a missed shot from Dexter. I think Chopper also didn't manage to connect anything, and those 2 pieces falling basically left Sum Young on the site absolutely screwed. Now, in terms of finances, they can actually buy here. They could drop the AWP over, Dexter can drop a rifle in response, and Mir will be able to drop 1 more. So they're not out of the woods yet on the FPX side. However, if they do win this round, then we could be seeing a pretty damn solid T half. The thing that makes this matchup so interesting, though, is I think FPX have proven that they're a fantastic T-sided team on Nuke, and Team Spirit have showed that they're a very good CT side. So if somehow FPX managed to win this first half, it's a great sign, but they then have to also prove, okay, we can work it on the CT side as well.
Yeah, it was that game against Sprout, of course, where Spirit picked up 14 rounds on the CT side and then barely scraped by a 16-12 win. It did look a lot better on the T side, though, against Big. I will certainly say that. And that was up against an informed Zentares, who nearly dropped 30. Many teams will falter when Zentares is feeling it. That could be maybe a cog in the wheel that FPX can't quite contend with. Chris J, though, already has moved towards Secret, got across the wall of smokes, and the rest of FPX are looking to try and barrel their way through ramp. Now, this is where Magic's is worth his weight in gold. He very rarely goes down without at least a bit of damage, at least a kill. Line up, gets 1, does get traded back, but the intel is in play, and Dexter is already there waiting for them. We have seen this happen so many times. Dreamhack And it should be falling into position again. Although Magix has been dealt with, the rest just looks so very good. Although Zen has put down Dexter with the AK-47, that's going to allow him a bit of luxury to push downstairs onto ramp, where he does get spotted by some Young, but doesn't take any damage. They're not sure if they're getting rotated on behinds. They have to look over their shoulder a little bit. Time is beginning to dwindle, but they do have an opportunity to take this round and make it theirs.
Yeah, we're yet to see the rotation of Chopper, so it will just be a 2-on-2 for now. And by the looks of it, Spirit are just going to wait to try and play this as an afterplant, realizing now that it is the play that they were expecting. The ramp push from Chopper needs to be well-timed. They do only have one kit. They both push into Mad, and he's somewhat caught jumping, and I don't think he expected the second player to be hit. Mir throws away his gun, though. He only had a USP in hand when he came around the corner, and now Zen brings it into the 1v1, but he doesn't quite check the right angle. It is close for comfort, maybe even a slip-up or two. And taking their time to juggle the weapons around, I pray to God he's not going to let this go off. I think he's got enough time anyway, but it's always one of those situations where you go, please don't do a G2.
Never do a G2. The economy isn't fantastic for FPX, but they should be able to rummage together a buy. Chris has got 7.2 thousand. A couple players down to around the $3,000 mark. So they will be juggling those guns across. Spirit pretty much in the same position as last round, where, yeah, they can rummage together a buy, but they have no money left in reserve if they were to be unsuccessful. So it basically is a rinse and repeat. It's a go again. FPX, honestly, should have been completely shut out of that round. The fact it got down to Chopper is quite surprising within itself. Nice effort from Zen. But can Spirit do the same? Dexter, first pick onto Chris J. Massively important. And that alleviates some of the pressure off Magix. It seems like FPX will be making a bit of a play towards the A side momentarily.
And this has been one of their major successes, but it normally came with a wraparound. It wasn't just a dry push into this site, and it's always going to be the tougher of the two to make successful, especially with some Young now looking for the peak, but actually Mir goes maybe a little bit early. I don't know if they'll expect some Young to be in this corner, however, but with the fact that there's still a minute left on the clock, I think they'll just be quite happy to sort of stick with that trade and maybe hope that there'll be some over rotations from Spirit.
It is something they're sometimes susceptible of doing, as we saw in Dust 2, with Stiko's 1v3 clutch. That will be in the back of FPX's mind. The thing is that Spirit don't have a ton of utility, but they do have good positions currently, so they don't necessarily have to go out for information gathering. It's not like they're a player or two behind. Some Young now anticipating the flashes, turning his back. The timing not quite working against him. I thought he'd get wrecked in transition, but a 2-for-2 trade does open up the site. Although Zen is on 4 HP, he will be thrown to the wolves with the plant, and his teammate's gone down, and so will Zen. I cannot believe that Chopper has ran up the vents with full sight from Madden and still takes him down. Madden's got to get that frag.
Yeah, that's a rough one, and it's going to be one that he wants to forget as well. Definitely not having the first map that he would have hoped for, especially on one of the more puggy maps. That's where you sort of expect Madden to succeed, and sure, he's been one of the better players in their start here, but that has got to be frustrating. A 2v2 they definitely could have won. And while Chopper with an important play, to say the least. Money still not fantastic for Team Spirit, but they have the chance to build a bit up at least. But Zen has actually managed to find the trade. A bit of a whiff for Dexter as well. Means he takes a bit of damage. And actually, Sticko's now won a duel versus Magix. The first time we sort of talk about this man not having the impact that his team would have desired, and it gives up the B site completely.
Have Madden as well acting as the lurk, the flank with his deagle. He can maybe get a couple of kills. Zen, though, in a good position. They line up and he takes both of them. Mir, Dexter, and Chopper all executed with the Desert Eagle, and FPX, with a very rough buy, have made it work. And all of Spirit's struggles have come to an abrupt end. Their economy is in the toilet. They've got to force buy.
This is one of those rounds as well that was meant to be a chance for Spirit to build into this half, to really get themselves rolling. And, well, Zen alongside FPX have really done a perfect job of just obliterating them. But now they need to convert it. And that was the problem earlier. They would win these rounds. You'd have the hero clutches from Sticko on Dust 2. And then the next one would be something like this. and Team Spirit would punish them straight back. So they can't afford to be any sort of slip-ups here because, again, this is how we sort of saw that first half actually slip away from FPX, was the fact that they allowed Team Spirit back in. And we know that they are no slouches with these pistols, be it the 5.7, be it the Deagle, or the Scout for Dexter. Any one of these players could take over this round.
They could, and so FPX have something pretty dangerous ahead of them, but if they are successful, they'll be able to reap the rewards behind it. It should be down to USPs. Magic's teeing off a few times, giving up ramp. This time they don't have the AWP of Dexter in position to thwart the push, but he has pushed outside, and Zen had no idea. That's also valuable intel. He sees him lining up smokes and Molotovs. That'll allow them to have a good idea as to lobby being at least having a couple of presents from Tees, and they're going to see a couple players now coming towards ramp if Magix goes out for the peak. 35 seconds, can hear footsteps. They drop down into Magix, and he takes off the head of Chris J. 30 seconds to play, and Chopper's now making moves behind them. This could be a disaster for FPX. They have bypassed Magix, but now Chopper shows his hand. It's all down to Farlig. He's got enough time to get the plant down, but he doesn't necessarily have the positioning. Dexter's going to keep him interested over on the doors, and now he gets peek from ramp, peek from doors again. No scope, still alive on 17 HP. Nearly spins in. But the miracle will not occur. Spirit get it done with pistols and a scout.
You can always believe that Magix is not going to have a round like that twice. Like, he got slaughtered in the round versus pistols, and it was a slip-up. Something I said we don't characteristically see from him. Now left with just a Deagle, he buys time, he takes 2 players, and gives his team enough time to rotate in behind them. It looked like pure panic from FPX in the latter stages of the round, and unfortunately, again, they can't convert them. They win an upset, they hand it straight back. Their economy is on the edge once again. Now, if they can respond once more, again, they'll be back in the driver's seat, but I feel like there's only going to be so many rounds where there's going to be a slip-up like that from Team Spirit.
Grand finals really do bring out the best in players, but it can shine a light on some weaknesses too. FPX have had their chances on both map, and they've let them somewhat slip away, but double smokes put down. The fact that that was underarmed though, Dexter knows exactly what's coming up. That trajectory of the smoke, like, he just knows he's about to peak, takes the shot. Still excellent. Mia doesn't often miss those chances, and the fact that Madden has then gone in on Sun Da Young afterwards takes this down to a 2-on-4.
Yeah, that's Mia's, like, one of his most common positions. We see him play there all the time, and that's the first time I can ever remember him missing a shot like that. So Madden is going to clear him out. A step up in this round, especially as he manages to get rid of the second player. And well, FPX have bounced straight back, a back and forth nuke. A bit of a peculiar scenario as both teams seem to be letting rounds fall away from them, but you have to give credit to FPX. Show that resilience, not fall down at the first sign of trouble. And a 6-4 scoreline right now, at least, they're not in a bad position at all, especially when, again, you have to now focus on the money and the fact that likelihood is Team Spirit are going to have to go for a risky force once again.
Yeah, 1,500 on Chopper and Dexter. Can't really afford to save here. They'll be in a pretty rough buy in the next one, so may as well throw everything down range. FAMAS has been dropped across. Yeah, that is Mia's bread and butter. I'm very surprised he lost out on that trade. That opened things up. FPX can make the most out of outside. It was one of their main key aspects of success earlier in the tournament. They haven't necessarily been super successful outside by and large. I feel like their rank pushes and the A pushes have yielded a lot more, but Zen goes in on Mia. Again, Mia is one of the first players to fall. That is surprising. And I take you back to the statistics. In both previous maps that they've played, he's landed around 30 frags. He's not quite having the same game here. Zen's gone in for another one. Both players outside have been dealt with, and it's the 2 heavy hitters.
It seems that FPX have started to do well to counter both of the players that really do cause other teams issues. And a lot of the time we talk about Mia's aggression, again, being a bit of a double-edged sword. He's very good at finding those picks, but when it stops working, he doesn't really have a backup plan. It's not going amazing for Farlig, though. Luckily, Sticko is there to save the day, and now Sun Da Young, he's retrieved the AWP. He's got Chopper alongside him. I don't see a way that they manage to win this round.
Sunday Young is going to have to be flawless if they win this. Now, FPX don't have to fully push onto A. With only 2 players left and knowing that one of the 2 is on A site, they had 45 seconds at that point. They could easily wrap down to B, but Chopper is here. It won't be a fully automatic M4. It's just the Deagle, but first-class delivery from Madden drops in the AK, and now down comes Sunday Young. It's a 2v4, and suddenly it's all on Farlig. And he doesn't have control of the bomb, he doesn't have time, and only 12 HP. Team Spirit have pulled the rabbit out the hat, more than likely, or have I spoke too soon? No scope, point blank range, but they know exactly where Farlig is. And surely he doesn't assume that Sunday Young is behind the blue boxes. He's looking to save his AWP. The round is over. You said you couldn't see how Spirit were gonna do it, neither could I, but they somehow did. They blindsided FPX.
I'm speechless. I'm genuinely speechless. What? He didn't even kill the man in front of him. I just thought he clipped the guy. I didn't realize he killed someone through the wall. That might be one of the most cursed kills ever. Like, Zen's just got to be feeling hard done by. His teammates jiggle peeking and he gets wrecked. Oh. He's got 3 knife kills at this event. Yeah, I think he's attempted far more than that, but yeah, a lot of them are not quite going to plan. But yeah, that's a round that FPX should never lose. Never, ever, ever. Like, phenomenal stuff from Sunday Young. As you mentioned, the delivery of that AK definitely helped, but I don't know. It just seemed like Spirit, everything worked out for them there, and FPX, it just went as bad as humanly possible. They are going to now purchase back in. They've got a hero AWP for Farlig as well that was kept from the last round, but he's been very quiet in this series. Very, very quiet. Someone who's normally the consistent star. That's the thing we talk about. Okay, who's going to step up with Farlig? Is it going to be Madden? Is it going to be Sticko? Are we going to see Zen performing? Well, to be fair, a lot of the time, Zen has been performing. However, Farlig, he's not turned up at all.
I hear a lot of typing, so I'm not sure if maybe we're going to have a technical restart here. But yes, I'm absolutely alongside with you. He had a 0.44 rating on the first map, and that was Dust 2. I mean, that's where you expect your AWPers to really prevail and have some of their best efforts. I would imagine it's probably similar for this map as well, to be completely honest. And I'm almost certain at this stage that we do have a technical issue. So I'm sure the round will be restarted momentarily, or surely, right? Like, it has to.
Yeah, I think maybe just a little bit of BM coming out from Chris, just decided to try and take someone down, and well, Sunday Young made some profit off of that, so maybe he won't mind if they do decide to carry on this round. But yeah, it's evidently some sort of tech issue. He's just handed them the bomb, so it would be a bit of an interesting round if that was part of the plan. But yeah, I think that if they're gonna even stand a chance in this best of 5, he has to show up, because that's always one of the factors that is not normally even we have to talk about, just because it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, he is so good that he always performs. Like, if you look back at a lot of matches, Farlig is always going to be there at least around the top of the board, if not at the top of the board. So the fact that it's come in the grand final that he's now gone a little bit quiet, that is a very, very worrying sign. And the fact is, one of the things we have to mention is, even if Dexter goes quiet for a little bit in matches, like we talked about Dust 2 yesterday, towards the end he came back, and that always seems to be the case. Like, he's only quiet for so long.
Ouch. He only died 7 times in the first map as well, which by itself is pretty nuts. They conceded 7 rounds in total. He only died 7 times. But we are back into the fray. Fortunately, technical issues have been resolved. Spirit will be right down with their XM and their MP9. With it being a repeat, though, at least FPX will know that there's an XM and an MP9 in play, because I'm pretty sure that Sunday Young killed Chris J after his bit of BM with the Tech 9, as FPX look to push downstairs through Secret. But Sunday Young is here. The XM is tailor-made for these kind of angles. If FPX walk out slowly, this could be an absolute disaster.
Interestingly, I do actually think that FPX have actually bought differently going into this round, because I'm sure Chris J only had a Tech 9, so slight change. Almost given a kill over to Farlig. And yeah, it was only a couple of players that really invested in the last round. We had Farlig on like the hero warp, and then it was just mostly pistols. So they've definitely changed things up a little bit. The door has been obliterated. SkullNerd not normally on the B site, but maybe this is where he'll shine. That XM close range, but the trade is fast from Sticko, and now Magic's, well, he's up on a pedestal. I don't know how he gets out of this, but luckily he's managed to fall back, and support actually starting to arrive. They've taken a while to kill him off. Chopper is here, but again, it's only going to be trades.
Start that round, I thought SkullNerd was going to have way more impact, but that's the bomb. Madden stuck around ramp with the bomb. Someone has to go get that, and there's only 15 seconds. Both the CTs are here, and Dexter has a clear line of sight onto the bomb. Flash comes through, won't affect him, and Mia with the FAMAS goes in to play. 8 seconds, only 1 bullet required to kill Sticko. He actually takes it partially through the wall, and Dexter's there to make sure that FPX cannot sneak away with this round.
Again, it looked so good for FPX in the majority of this round, and it was just this moment where the bomb gets caught up top. I'm a bit confused as to what the plan was. Like, they were getting aggressive towards the ramp, but it's all gone wrong. Well, 8-4. I feel like this could have been much closer. Like, if anything, I think it should be a pretty even scoreline with how things have gone for FPX. But it seems like when things get close, when things get clutch, that's where Team Spirit are stepping up to the mark. And, well, a flawless round to boost that economy back up. It's been weak for a long time based on how close these rounds have been. But you look at the rounds, 9 already for Team Spirit. FPX, as we've said before, like it's a lot of the time their T side that people marvel at.
The T side has been solid again. It's just been those kind of 2v2, 3v3 situation decision making that's let them down. Some crazy individual efforts as well from Spirit. Yeah, 2v4 indeed. Like just a lot of these kind of awkward positions that they've let slip away. 1 for 1 early on though, including a smoke headshot from Chopper onto Sticko, who did get the frag onto Mir just beforehand. So Mir again gets put down early on in the round. There's another B-sided hit with a post plant in effect. Farlig's waiting on the flank. Chopper has been sprayed in, but SkullNerd at least makes sure that's countered. Farlig off angle. Would not have been expecting that. And although they do have the funds to go in for another buy, they also have an AWP still in play. Madden will have to deal with the threat of Magic's, which he briskly sprays into oblivion. And now Dexter is all that remains. First kill goes his way. Bomb is ticking exceptionally low, and I think that's the reason why he is going to be pulling the plug. Not interested without a kit, so he will save. FPX, just very aggressive. B hit does yield another round.
It was a very brawly round at that. Event dive is one that, again, you don't necessarily see too regularly with the bomb, but it's a risk that has definitely paid off. And then the remaining players doing very well to sort of battle to stop the rotation coming in. It is going to be a 5th, and a 9-6 really wouldn't be bad for FPX. I definitely think they could make it work. And again, we've pretty much called into question Spirit's T side on this map every time we've seen it. Even still, though, both teams going to be coming up with a relatively strong buy. SkullNerd again on the shotguns. I think he's had shotguns more than he's had rifles so far throughout this series, so maybe not too much of a detriment to him, especially with the fact he's got over 100 ADR.
Yeah, he's been really solid. Chris J, his 4th kill onto Chopper through main. With a bit of wall bang for good measure, and SkullNerd again spitting shells at his adversaries. There's another one onto Farlig. The bomb's gone down. Awkward position. SkullNerd with a triple. This is why the XM is an absolute abomination on Nuke. It's just so strong. As our Spirit, 10-5 lead going into our second half.
Why some say the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing.
10-5 scoreline, but it definitely didn't feel like one. FPX had their opportunities, they had their chances, but rounds, silly mistakes, and just a few moments just meant that it slipped away from them. And Team Spirit ended up with a pretty decent first half. Of course, we've seen the problems with their T side before, but with a few players deadly quiet over on the FPX side, it's very much possible that they just bombard their opponent and get this over the line.
Which would put them at 2-0 with Mirage up next, where I think Spirit would be the favorites. This could be the clean sweep grand finals. There are still plenty of CS between then and now. But Mia, who's been on the receiving end of so many opening picks, is the first one to strike. But Christian at the back of the site gets two before he's silenced. Zen, having a bit of an awkward exchange, does finally get his man, but traded back instantly by Sumdai Young, who then decides to pull out of Hut. Now, they don't have the bomb. The bomb is dropped over on main. Someone needs to go pick that one up, and Farlig is actually following straight through on Sumdai Young. He has a great read of the situation. He's going to be getting right behind him. Should go for the kill, and will get the knife. Money in the bank to the Orc Fund, but now his position is known, and Dexter is last man standing. Dust 2, Dexter bullied Farlig across the map. Can he do it one more time? He has been ruthless, unrelenting, and with a P250, if he can carve a head out from Farlig, it's more of the same. Spirit take the second pistol.
I feel like in these moments, he just like says to his team, like, be real. Did you ever doubt me? Like, even for a second, did you doubt I was going to hit that shot? From this moment, it's like he just knew. He was like, up, he's in the corner. I'm not going to miss this shot. Perfectly played. And as said, for someone who has literally come bursting onto the scene, the way this man is in clutch situations, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He tops the board once again and is going to kick things off in this round. See you later, Chris J. Chopper, in the meantime, is trying to dominate outside. Farlig, he was given a chance, and he does connect the body shot, at least leaving a player or two low, and that will eventually lead to Madden finding a frag. A chance for Sticko, but I don't think that jump was intentional.
Hasn't cost him his life just yet, but a couple of shots have gone awry. And with his position on lockers being known, it's all about where is Zen as far as Spirit are concerned. They still have plenty of time to find out that information for themselves. Still keeping Stiko interested, and Chopper finally does connect with his AK. Post plant on A forthcoming. Every reason for Zen to try and hold on to this Deagle and Scout. He can drop one of them across. I'd assume you drop the Scout across to Farlig and hold on to that Deagle if he's allowed the luxury of doing it. But we are getting closer and closer towards Spirit running away with this, Tom. And I completely agree. I think that first half, FPX going back and watching these demos in the next few days, they'll be face palming. They'll know how close they were. It's not just that 2v4 they lost. It was the fact that the economy was in the balance. It could have ended up being another 2 or 3 rounds. It could have easily been an 8-7 half. And yet here we sit with Spirit with a vast lead and looking so comfortable in the process.
Yeah, I can think of a few situations as well. Like even the last round, like running the bomb through straight into an XM. You had the round where they had basically had the B site and the bomb was dropped up towards the ramp. Like there's been plenty of moments that easily could have gone their way. There were 2v2s that seemed very close that ended up slipping out of their control. So yeah, they had many opportunities. There's no doubt about that. Mir, Chopper, and Sumdai Young 1, 2, and 3 for total assists at the event. That is pretty ridiculous. They've played a hell of a lot of rounds, though, I will say. Like they've not had too many quick maps, although by the look of it, they've sort of got their long series out the way and are just looking to try and speed run the grand final, which would definitely be a shame, especially with the way that FPX have been throughout this tournament. There's no doubt that they have taken a tough route to get here. They've beaten out some teams that we didn't necessarily expect, but the fact that right now in this grand final, I am still waiting for multiple of their players to show up in the way we know they can.
Yeah, they beat Gambit and EG to get to the finals, FPX. Those are legit teams. Definitely not a breeze whatsoever. Dexter, though, with the AK, showing his hand, a position where he got a highlight reel-worthy moment with the AWP yesterday against Big. And now he's going to try and rinse and repeat. Farlig with the scout. And Madden actually charging through with the CZ. Make short work of Magics. That's a Galil. And he still has 100% of his HP. Spraying down, brings it back to a 2-on-2. Chopper may have him dead to rights when he pulls back from Hut, which is the case. And with Farlig on 22, although this was a bit of a sketchy and sloppy round from Spirit, they should still be able to convert at this stage. The mad thing about that stat as well for Mia, he has to be pretty close to the overall top fragger of the event as well. Like, he's typically been fragging hard. So the fact he's up there atop assist is madness. Now, Farlig, he had a chance. It was fleeting. And Spirit now 13-5 lead.
Yeah, I would have to give it to either him, maybe Dexter as well. Probably going to be right up there. I think it is a race to the finish for these two players. Some Young having a great performance. And that's the thing. Like, this team, we've spoken about it many times. There's so much depth. Like, Chopper, the in-game leader, someone who can definitely frag, currently on 14 and 9. The highest on the other side is 15. And as I said, it's starting to look dominant now. It's starting to get to the point of no return. This is the buy, though. FPX, if there's any way they can turn the tide, it has to be now. Oh, we see these diagonal smokes. It gives a lot of space to Mir to be a bit cheeky, but Farlig's ready for it. So he's going to put down one of the danger men, but I say one of because there's plenty on Spirit's side.
They're certainly not lacking for X factors at this point. Chris J will be bypassed on his hut position as that smoke comes out. Two players actually push straight past it. Dexter, one of them, they decide to double stack hut. So they're trying a different take. It's going to be a lobby crunch. Two players coming up ramp at the same time. The bomb's now been dropped down. But these two players have now given their position away. They would have heard the Molotov coming out. They're taking control of A. That's fine as far as the CTs are concerned because they still don't have control over the bomb. Someone has to come back and pick this up. And in the meanwhile, that'll be putting them into a very dangerous position with Farlig, who's already picked up 2. It's good to see him starting to get himself in the frags. And there's the 3rd as well. I don't think he saw the play across. Maybe he did just in the last second, but a flashbang forces him away. Secondary player up to the plate, though, is Chris J. And now it's all to Chopper, who is going to stumble and fall. I love that strat from FPX. It gets them right back into this match.
Yeah, and it's a bold call at that, which always... I have to respect that with the in-game leading coming out from Chris, whoever it was. We know that a lot of people have been inputting into the sort of calls that have been going on, but I have to respect it a lot because when you're this far down, it's very easy to just go, okay, we've got an advantage, let's just play it safe, let's do nothing, let's just sit back and wait for them to push into our crosshairs. As long as we trade, it's fine. Instead, they used their initiative, caught them off guard completely. Now, speaking of catching them off guard, this is a very, very fast take. Magic's again, we've seen him time and time with that Tech 9. He's going to get them the opener, and they should have an afterplant, but again, at the perfect moment, the bomb has been dropped.
Zen sprayed through the smoke. The smoke has just cleared. Did Farlig catch the elbow as they darted down vents? I'm pretty sure the fact that they've seen no more confrontation on A will give them a good idea, and now they know it's been confirmed that B has been planted on. Sun Young is low, but all 3 of them have rifles. And with FPX losing some players in the last round, additionally, they can't necessarily throw these 2 guns away, so they have to be very careful of what they do next, and it seems like it will be the save, Tom. This is a bitter pill to swallow. You're saving knowing it's going to be taken to a 14-6. That's got to sting. That's got to sting so bad.
Yeah, those are the sort of plays as well, especially when your opponent has low economy, that you should be ready for, and I almost want to say FPX were. Like, you see the amount of damage that's actually taken by Team Spirit in the first, like, I don't know, 5-6 seconds of their push. It was almost purely utility, but still, 2 of the first couple of kills actually go the way of Team Spirit. Again, I've mentioned him before, but Magic's with that Tech 9. I don't know how he does it. We saw the kill earlier in the tournament where he was just running and insta-dones. I think it was Tabson with it. It seems to be a gun that is coming further and further back into fashion. And there's a part of me that's excited by that, and a part of me that is mentally scarred and is starting to have flashbacks.
Yo, it's Magic's from main, right? Just on the cross, just taps in the face. We were both kind of stunned. As Big ended up being in that match, of course. Farlig has the right idea. The timing, though, not quite up to scratch. And Chopper, will bypass that threat. I could give them a false sense of security as he drops down, and he'll be swinging in. Not required. Dexter already got his man, but Madden now holds on to Hut. He knows there's plenty of T scurrying around the perimeter of A site, though. So flash into a potential peak, but all it does is delay a little bit longer. Mia has shut him down. Stiko up in heaven is a little bit too late to have any big impact, and his teammate of Madden gets clotheslined from Dexter, courtesy of Squeaky. Another post plant, another 1v3 for Stiko to potentially win, but he doesn't really have anything going his way other than maybe Dexter being low. Apart from that, Tom, does he have to just save again?
Does he even know it's B? Because that's the thing, like 2 players were on A when the bomb was actually going down on the lower bomb site. So even if he was going for a retake, like it's a relatively confusing position for any player to be in here. And they're actually just going to fight him. There is no one on the bomb. They've completely given it up because they know how important that gun is. That is now little to no weaponry coming in. An AWP for Farlig, glass cannon. He can afford a decoy alongside it and nothing more. Madden gonna have an XM, some pistols available. And well, whether or not like you looked at this match and thought, okay, Team Spirit, they've got a good opportunity. I did not expect them to go on to a map where FPX have been superb for the last few iterations of their roster and just absolutely dominate.
I'm right alongside with you. We both said we thought the Spirit might win this, but I said before we went live it might be a 5-mapper. Chopper, though, through the wall into Madden's head, will neutralize Farlig's opening pick with the AWP outside onto Mia. But when you look at the utility and the firepower, that certainly favors Team Spirit right now.
After a 10-5 half, it's really not gone amazingly well since then. Nico is in prime position, but a fantastic trade from Chopper. Now the rest of the team all making their way through the lobby. The only person going the other way, but a nice shot. Chris J actually finds a kill, but more importantly, the bomb is still on the deck. So that buys time not only for them to retrieve a bit of extra weaponry, but also reposition themselves. And as said, Zem was slowly making his way to the lower bomb site. So what was initially just going to be him very far away when the bomb went down, he's now going to be on site, ready and waiting.
Yeah, on the door's position as well. Now, they will be Molotoving onto D. Zen runs out, barely scratches some Die Young. Molotov will be expiring soon, but not before the bomb's planted, and Farlig's missed his chance. 7 HP left. Oh, that flick onto some Die Young is something spectacular, but it won't be enough to keep him alive. And our Magix can close this map, and indeed he does. Spirit walk through FPX and make it look easy.